Hello everybody! This is Dr. Madiha Saeed. I am a board certified integrative holistic family physician. I know we are incredibly late today, so I hope most of you guys can catch the replay. But today we're going to a little bit more first about me. I am a board certified integrative holistic family physician, and I'm here with my son, Abdullah, who is how old? 5 years old.
No, I'm not that young, Mama.
So who is 10 years old, 11. Who's 11 years old. And today we are going to talk about how your chronic conditions, no matter what you're dealing with, digestive issues, rashes, headaches, visual changes, joint pain, back pains, autoimmunities, cancers, all of those things can all be linked to inflammation. And doctors know that the underlying root cause is due to inflammation because when we have eczema, they give us an anti-inflammatory. When we have an autoimmune condition, they give us steroids as an anti-inflammatory. When we have allergies, they give you an anti-inflammatory. So no matter what you're dealing with, your underlying root cause is due to inflammation. And actually, I have to talk about this new statistic that I saw. They say 80% of the kids, 80% of kids are going to have a chronic condition in 6 years, by 2025. And I heard another statistic that how many percent of boys will have autism? 50%.
Yeah.
50% of boys will have autism by 2025. And if that's not crazy enough, 1 out of every 4 children will have autism by 2033. And so basically we are getting sicker, our children are getting sicker, and this has to stop now. And the best way to do that is how? We have to lower the overall inflammation. Because the rise of chronic disease is directly related to the rise of inflammation. So what's really, really important is that we need to now focus on all those key pieces that if you can put your body back into balance, you can heal not one symptom, but then all of them simultaneously. So Abdullah, do you want to go ahead and tell them what those pieces are?
So the factors of chronic inflammation is detoxification, healthy foods, healthy gut, stress management, and then there is sleep, social health, and gratitude,
mindfulness, building with their spirituality. So we've gone through all the other pieces, but we're going to go into a little bit depth today about toxins, because we've been talking in the last couple weeks, months, we've been talking about toxicity. So Abdullah, can you tell us what a toxin is?
Well, a toxin is a substance that when eaten, swallowed, or breathed in, or in contact with your skin can inflict an inflammatory response as your body sees it as foreign or dangerous.
Absolutely. And actually, so then there are toxins all around us. So we have so many toxins in our environment that that is what we need to now focus on. The toxins that we're dealing with on a daily basis. Those toxins, in order to protect us, because what happens is the liver, gets the toxins in, takes the toxics out, pushes it through, takes out what it doesn't need, keeps what it needs. But over time, when you have too much toxins, it holds on to this. And when it holds on to this, what happens is that it doesn't let go and it gets clogged. So our liver can get clogged just by being exposed to too many toxins. So if you guys are watching, thank you so much. Look, Papa's watching. Hey, Papa! We want your heart love. We want to hear where you're calling from and watching from. So I would love to please share and like this video, because we're going to talk about a really important topic today that is really key in why chronic disease is on a rise. is because of the fact that nowadays we are eating better. Like in most cases, we're eating better than most. We're healthier now than we've ever been, sort of. But what's problematic is that we have toxins all around us. Pediatric neurologist from Harvard, Dr. Martha Herbert, says our bodies are not meant to tolerate the 85,000 chemicals that are being thrown at it on a daily basis. So we have to now control this and make sure that we, keep out these toxins. Sorry. So keep out these toxins. But first, in order to know, so the steps are easy, right? We talked about last time that how you know if you're sick from detoxification issues. But Abdullah, what are the steps to resilience? Like, what are the 4 steps to make sure to help you optimize detoxification? 4 steps.
The 4 steps are identifying your toxins.
Then
Keep your fluids moving.
3.
Eat to detoxify.
4.
And swap out toxins for clean.
Woohoo! So today, what are we going to talk about, Abdullah?
Today we're going to talk about
where your toxins are.
Yes.
Right? So
identifying your toxins.
Yeah. So most toxins, so I'm going to try to keep this so simple, super simple. Most toxins can be sort of bumped into, hormone disruptors. But I'm going to give a subcategory of heavy metals. Because there are a lot of heavy metals out there in your environment that can lead to problems. Because the fact that, these heavy metals or these toxins, so let's first talk about the endocrine disruptors or hormone disrupting chemicals that are in the body. So there are so many hormone disrupting chemicals in their environment. And actually, Abdullah, what do?
Well, they increase the production of certain hormones. They decrease production of others. They imitate hormones, turn some hormones into others, interfere with hormone signaling, tell cells to die prematurely, complete with essential nutrients.
Yeah, so they compete with them, so then you don't get what you need.
Bind.
Yeah. So what they do is they bind to these essential hormones, and then also they accumulate in your organs that can even produce hormones. So it is really, really scary because, there are a lot more hormone disrupting. It's so funny. I was watching the documentary Stink on Netflix. If you guys have not watched that, please watch that. It's a documentary called Stink on Netflix. And they were talking about how there was only 11 hormones that were not, allowed in the chemicals that were not allowed in the United States. But in overseas, like in Europe, 1,200 that are not allowed, right? Because the fact that Europe has twice the amount of population, but spends like $217 billion a year with hormone disrupting chemicals, while here it's like 340 billion. So we are spending way too much on all these chemicals, and then we are spending. So this is actually causing a problem in our economy. It's causing a problem in our economy. It's probably in our IQ, because just by Abdullah, just by the hormone disruptors, how many points can it, how many you can lose? Yeah, IQ points.
You can actually lose almost 13 million IQ points
in the United States. So
yes.
That's crazy. So this is where it's not even just disrupting us, it's disrupting everything. So there's a lot of different types of hormone disruptors out there, because remember, just to recap, so hormone disruptors are the chemical that is readily absorbed, and they mimic and affect our hormones. And they can send mixed messages. They send mixed messages to our endocrine system that disrupt these hormones' natural actions. So we have first let's talk about BPA. That's the stuff that's everywhere. Abdullah, do you know what BPA is used for?
BPA is actually used for to make certain plastics and thermal cash registration.
Receipts. The receipts.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? So then the stuff that you're actually touching, and then they imitate your sex hormones like estrogen, and then actually, did you hear the statistic of how many people, Americans, actually have BPA in their system?
No.
Right?
Oh wait, it's the 93% of Americans have BPA in
yes,
their bodies.
we talked about that, right?
Yeah.
93% have BPA in their bodies. And these then can lead to, Abdullah, what does BPA cause and what does it lead to?
Well, BPA causes breast cancer.
Can cause it's linked to.
Yeah,
so it's linked to all of these sorts of
and,
health problems.
PCOS and
PCOS.
Obesity, heart disease, early puberty, and prostate cancer.
And infertility.
Yes.
So how are we going to, because it's all over our system, how are we going to, Abdullah, how are we going to avoid it?
Well, we can avoid it by choosing fresh or frozen foods over canned. Say no to receipts you don't need.
It's in the plastic, right? So which number of plastic should we avoid?
It's the polycarbonate plastic, PCO number 7.
Okay.
Be skeptical about BPA-free replacements like BPS are also toxic.
Yes. So we have to make sure that we have to stay away from all these BPAs. Then we have is dioxins, right? So dioxins form many. Come on, baby wants to show. Form during many industrial processes. Okay, I'm coming.
What's that crowd person? No. He's hot.
Yeah. So when chlorine and bromine are burned in the presence of carbon and oxygen, and then these are actually, what they do is they're actually powerful. They show up in our bodies and they're in our immune systems. And what it's really crazy is that it affects your immune system and your reproductive system, and it's a powerful carcinogen. So Abdullah, how are we going to? So let's quickly talk about dioxins, because remember, there's those are toxic. Even though there was technically banned in 1970s, you're still seeing a lot of residuals. It also leads to a lot of autoimmunities. So Abdullah, where can dioxins be found?
They can be found in meat, dairy, and fish.
So it's difficult to it is difficult, but eating lower of these foods and the food lower on the food chain can actually optimize that. So therefore you need to choose organic and as natural as possible, because of the fact that these chemicals can be in this that can lead to Hashimoto's and autoimmune diseases and rheumatoid arthritis. So very, very, very important to watch. Remember, a little bit of protein goes a long way. I don't advocate the keto diets where you just completely eat only protein all day long. I myself follow more of a paleo keto green type, and yeah, we are, and more keto green diet, because of the fact that I try to keep all the processed foods away, just focus on a little bit of protein and lots of vegetables. So the next pieces of the puzzle are there are atrazine. Right? Mm-hmm. Abdullah, do you know what that is?
Atrazine is a weed killer. So it's a toxic weed killer that actually turns male frogs into females and produce viable eggs.
Yeah. So then we use it. Where can people be exposed to that?
They can be exposed to it by common drinking water
contains that and contaminant,
and then
also they spray
cornfields,
U.S.
right? cornfields.
U.S. cornfields. And then how can we avoid that?
We can avoid it by buying organic food, getting a drink of water, get a drinking water filter certified
that has to remove it.
Design, yes, and check out the EWG's water filter guide for health.
Yes, perfect. Awesome. Now let's talk about phthalates. Phthalates. Abdullah, have you heard of phthalates? What do they use to make?
Phthalates are used to make plastics soft or to make fragrances or cosmetic sticks to your body longer.
Wow. Basically it causes a lot of, it triggers death, right?
Yes.
Inducing signals in the testicular cells. So basically it can lead to cancers and all these crazy things. I mean, these phthalates are really, really, really scary stuff, right? Because phthalates are things that have been added to the personal care products and hygiene products like sprays and perfumes and body washes and shampoos and lotions and fast foods and even food packaging, plastics with number 3. If you see a number 3 written on it, it's also written in detergents. And these seriously have been linked to cancers, endocrine disruptor, ADHD, diabetes, obesity. So the list goes on and on. So we really want to try to see if we can avoid these. So how are we going to avoid phthalates?
You can avoid phthalates by don't use plastic or food containers, or number 3, plastic wrap. Stay away from vinyl flooring and vinyl flooring and products.
And then also avoid fragrances, right? Because
Yes.
the things, if it says the word fragrance, you got to stay far away from it. Because sometimes that phthalate is described as a word fragrance. So we try to stay far away from it.
Yeah.
I even notice it in like Epsom salt baths and things like that. So you want to stay away from that, far away. Like sometimes they'll have like the fragrance and the Epsom salts. No. Stay far away. So you want to stay away from anything with fragrance in it. You want to make sure that the ingredients that you're buying, the body products and things you can understand and read. Avoid these fragrances on personal care labels and things like that. And then stay away from vinyl if you possibly can. And then don't use like a lot of plastic. So that's why we've tried to avoid plastic in our house, right?
Yes.
Right. And then we have now this is a really scary one, right? Abdullah, what do we have that we've been dealing with in pajamas?
Fire retardants.
Right? Like flame retardants. It is really, really, really scary because these flame retardants are, they're widespread. They're everywhere, right? And they're used to prevent fires, although that, studies didn't really even show that they work. But that used to be more so when they, again, watch the movie Stink on Netflix because it's really good to really explain this. Because in that movie, the father saw that these pajamas had this weird fragrance to it and smelled, and when nobody could go back and test it, so he got it personally tested, and saw that this had like a chemical in it that was like seriously like fire retardants can cause cancers, hormone disruptors.
Responsible for loss of 11 million IQ points.
11 million IQ points?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. It's crazy. And then you can see that. So it's like everywhere. And then we really want to make sure that we stay far, far away from this. And again, read the simple things that you can do to stay away from these hormone disruptors, right? Is to look at if your kids are wearing pajamas to make sure that they're not doing the flame resistant ones. I got ones from like Target that are not flame resistant. So then that's what you want to focus on. It's even organic cotton, which is really cool that my baby not only likes to wear. And so Abdullah, how are we going to avoid flame retardants?
We can avoid flame retardants by use vacuums with
HEPA filter. So if it has a HEPA filter.
Virtually impossible to completely avoid it, but you can try your best. Avoid
so that it's in the furniture, it's in the carpet. So you really want to make sure that the easiest thing to do is clothes, right?
Yeah.
Is to make sure that you are using, the pajamas that our kids are in that has no flame retardants. And then, vacuum with the HEPA filter. Again, another easy one. Whenever I got new couches, I always make sure that they don't coat it with anything. You want to make sure that, that it comes clean as it can be. And then, and if you're replacing old carpet, remember the foam underneath can also have like flame resistance. So make sure you take care of that appropriately, right? So the next things are, we have there's some, like PFCs. Let's talk about this. Abdullah, do we use non-sticks at home?
No.
No. What do we use?
We use
Cast iron.
or
Or ceramic.
Yeah.
Right? Because of the fact that what's in the non-stick pans?
The non-stick pans are
Have PFCs.
PFCs, yes.
And that's basically, it can be found inside popcorn bags. That's why we don't do a lot of that. And it can also be found in fast food containers. So, and again, 99% of Americans have these chemicals in the body. One time that does not break up in the environment is the PFOA. And actually, Bill, what is this PFCs, PFOAs linked to?
These are actually linked to
The low birth weight,
the low birth weight, and
kidney disease, thyroid.
And
What does it do to your cholesterol?
it does
Increases it.
it increases.
Increases the cholesterol, and even decrease sperm count. So we're really starting to lose the guys that help us create the world, and we're becoming extinct as a population. So it's really scary stuff. So Abdullah, how are we going to avoid PFCs, PFOAs in our environment?
Well, you can skip non-stick
Pans.
cookware.
Perfect.
Avoid stain-resistant treatments on furniture and carpeting.
Perfect.
And make homemade popcorn on stove instead of buying microwave popcorn.
Stove. What do we have a popper, right?
Yes.
When we have treated, we have a popper. So we love to do that. Then we have pesticides. So many, right? Because the fact that seriously, these pesticides are one of the most commonly used here now. There's like is a toxic that we're all so exposed to. So Bill, how are we going to try to avoid pesticides?
You could try to avoid it by buying organic. You could grow the organic stuff. Consider supporting legislators who support
The organic people, right? Agriculture.
Yes.
But Abdullah, tell me exactly why people use pesticides.
People use pesticides to kill insects. Small amounts obtained through our food over time can disrupt our hormones and the microbiome,
leading to weight gain, insulin resistance, diabetes, fatigue, irritability, depression, forgetfulness. Oh no! See how bad this is? This is why we try to stick with what? Organic as best as possible.
Yeah.
We do the best we can. You try it out. And then, so then there's so many different ones. Like, okay, so let me just make sure that we didn't miss anything. We had so the heavy metals. Good job, Abdullah. So we have the heavy metals like mercury. And mercury can be in a lot of salmon and fish. There's multiple times. Abdullah, where can in silver fillings and cosmetics and pesticides and then also vaccines. Most of that has been taken out. But the thing is, what we need to now do is always look for fish that you can that is far away from the mercury. Mercury. So how can we avoid it?
We can avoid it by choosing wild-caught Alaskan salmon, Atlantic mackerel, or Pacific sardines over
the higher ones.
High mercury.
Because the ones that accumulate the most are, Abdullah, which fish have the most ones in it?
Well, the highest is in the tuna and swordfish.
So tuna and swordfish have the highest. So it's really important to optimize your health by just doing that. Next we have is arsenic. Can we talk about arsenic for a second? So what is it's a heavy metal?
Yes.
Right? That can cause what?
It can cause skin and bladder and lung cancer.
And it interferes with a normal. So what does it interfere with?
It interferes with normal hormone functioning.
So then it basically what it does is it messes up the hormone functioning that can regulate the body sugar and carbohydrates. And then Abdullah, where can you find the most arsenic?
You can find the most arsenic in drinking water. It is also found in
like insecticides,
insecticides,
and then on fruit, on vegetables, on chicken, and then specifically on
rice.
Yes. So we want to make sure, in order to avoid it, you want to make sure
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The household detergents also, and colored chalk.
Oh wow, there too?
Yes.
Oh, that's pretty scary
Also,
stuff.
yeah.
Because the kids play with all that stuff. So then we have in order to avoid it, Abdullah, how are we going to avoid that?
To avoid it, you can make sure that either your water isn't contaminated. If it is, filter accordingly.
Yeah.
And rinse the rice before cooking, and cook in more water like pasta.
To lower the arsenic
To
levels.
lower the arsenic.
So this is why I have my patients get it off of all grains, because it does have a lot of these chemicals in it, and that's why I don't give it to the kids on a regular basis, or almost at all.
Yeah.
So because the fact that there are these things that are in there. Now lead, there's a lot less lead, but if you live in like older homes, because lead is a severe toxin, right? And it accumulates in the bones. It can be stored for years, but it can be still, even though most of it's gone, but it can be still present in older homes, paints, older water pipes, and even occasionally stuff if you get it from China. So you always want to make sure. Abdullah, what can exposure lead to?
It can lead to cardiovascular diseases and
IQ problems. Yeah. So then we have and how are we going to avoid it?
You can avoid it by removing old crumbling lead paint carefully. Test water for lead, but I'm pretty sure most of water doesn't.
Yeah.
Always
test it.
Always test it though. Eat healthy, whole foods, and studies actually show that you'll absorb less lead if you do this.
If you eat more
you eat more healthy and whole foods.
So basically, and that's what we're going to talk about next time in a month, probably. I don't think we're going to continue this in Pakistan. But the thing is, we are going to be gone overseas, just me and the kids, just for a couple weeks. So we'll probably do the next Facebook Lives then. We're here for you if anybody has any questions for us. And hi, Esti. Thank you, Ilham. Ilham, thank you. I know, I'm trying to teach him at the same time. It's fun. And he knows a lot of it already, so it just needs a little bit of prompting sometimes. Sakina says Sukiana. I'm sorry if I'm messing it. Sukina. My 10-year-old daughter says your son is so smart. If you want to see a guy smile, that's shy. So how do you recommend cleaning your vegetables and fruit? So, I mean, right now we just clean it under water. There are some solutions that you can get, like at Whole Foods, to help clean it, vitamin C, things like that. But I really just try to keep organic and just rinse with water. That's what I do the best I possibly can in a crazy life. But I have seen, and I have occasionally used the vegetable cleaners that you can get, that organic ones. But excellent, you guys. We have had a long day today. I have had a long day. I know you guys have too. Please let us know if you have any other questions for us. We are here for you. Mwah. Until next time, real healing for real life. Thank you so much, you guys. Bye.